welcome. Live from YouTube, it's Tuesday night. Welcome here, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of Tuesday Night Live right here on the BINBUSTER channel. As you guys can see, like I told you guys last week, it's going to be something brand new this week. As you guys can see here all around me, new layout, new things. I'm no longer using StreamYard. I'm using another program. So let's see how this works. We have some people here with us tonight. I'm going to say, hey, first to Emmett. How are you doing? Have you seen Cobra? No, I've not. Have you out? Once I get my guest on here, I'll ask him that same question. And we also have Jagoda here tonight. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Emmett saying hey to everyone. Hey, Scott's in the chat. What's up, everybody? I'm doing well, Scott. Nate's like, what's up, homies? Hey. And this last one, before I bring in my guest, here it is. Do you think the show was not the same without Kevin Conroy? And right now, I'm going to bring in my guest and actually ask him this question first. So, ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, my guest tonight is none other than Alex from Geeks and Flicks. How are you doing tonight, man?
What's up? You know, it's so different. It's very different. This program is very different. I'll get used to it. Don't worry, I'll get used to it. But thank you so much. It's great to be here. I kind of like the music. I felt like I was in a freaking Joker's like lair. Like I'm ready to get tortured or something.
I wanted something that was upbeat, but something that was kind of, hey, it's not only something different, but something upbeat that matched the movie themes of stuff. So,
okay.
So yeah. So Emmett said this right now, and I'm going to bring it back up. Do you think the show was not the same without Kevin Conroy? So we'll start there.
In terms of what? I mean, this is a totally different show.
Exactly.
I mean,
well, in some ways, the voice kind of sounded like Kevin Conroy.
Right.
Hamish Linklater kind of seemed at times he did his own impression of Kevin Conroy's voice at sometimes. But I think that's the biggest thing most fans say. It wasn't Kevin Conroy. He was actually slated to be in this, and then his untimely passing happened, and they had to recast.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I mean, at the same time, yeah, I mean, they did. See, the problem is that I hope we don't go down every cartoon or video game them trying to sound like Kevin Conroy. Exactly. Because it's not going to work. I mean, first of all, it's not going to work. I mean, maybe you could find the right person that has the same voice or whatever. Great. But in this sense, in this case, I mean, I do miss Kevin Conroy, but you know what? There was a lot of projects that they did not have Kevin Conroy, and I was okay with it. You know, he became
a lot of their DC animated Batman stuff that didn't have Kevin Conroy in it, and they had some amazing actors who play that role.
I agree. So I totally agree.
So what we're doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to go through the episodes of Batman Caped Crusader. Right there, right down there, you guys can see the little poster right there. Hey, look, there it is. But we're going to go through every episode, and we're just going to give you our highs, our lows, and then we're going to touch on bases on overall series and other things like that as we go on. So, everyone who's listening tonight, comment down below if you guys have seen this yet or not, or if it's something that you guys want to see as we're discussing this. So, we start off with, I got to say, I don't know if you actually paid attention during the credits, Alex. Executive producer was of this show.
Okay.
The opening credits sequence. Not only did it say Bruce Timm, the executive producer of this show was not just J.J. Abrams, but Matt Reeves.
Yeah, I saw he's getting attached to a lot of projects, which is good for him. If he's gonna be like the head Batman guy, I'm okay with it. I mean, he knows his Batman stuff, so
and Bruce Timm knows his animated stuff too. So I think that's a good team right there. Honestly,
yeah, I agree.
So our first episode is called "In Treacherous Waters." It's a penguin-based episode.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of this episode, Al?
I liked it. I totally liked it. I saw nothing wrong with it. I mean, I know this is okay. I already know the problems was gonna happen the minute you saw the new penguin show up on the screen. I already knew tons of people were gonna hate it and hate the show and whatever. So at this point, I was like, you know what? Does this change of Oswald Cobblepot, is the change going to work? And I'm gonna say it worked for me. I thought it worked pretty good. It's not a short, pudgy guy sounding like a penguin.
Yeah.
It's an actually tall woman that looks like a penguin.
Yeah.
And she has 2 sons that's part of the henchman group. I thought it was really, you know what? Like I said, I thought it worked. I liked it. And honestly, I thought it was a good episode to kick off the entire thing.
I'm there with you. I loved the change of character because it made sense for what she was doing at the Iceberg Lounge, which is now on a boat, folks. I enjoyed that aspect. It's no longer in Gotham; it's in Gotham Harbor on a boat.
Yeah, it worked.
It pretty much worked, and I mean, it's all right there. It's all penguin gear, all umbrellas. Minnie Driver did phenomenal with this role.
But they said a tall woman. Yeah, she's tall. She literally was like, I mean, wasn't she? She was a little taller than Batman because they fought each other.
She was about the same, maybe a little taller with the hat.
Well, she was toe to toe with Batman.
She's kind of Amazonian in look.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
She looked like Rhea Ripley. If you put the long nose, she did. She looked stocky like her, but But look, I liked the story. The story was actually really good. It felt very mobster-like when you were watching the episode. Look, when we could talk about the sceneries and the settings of this because it's very noir type Batman, old school drawings that they made modern, and I liked it. I thought it was really good. We could talk about the Batman voice towards the end or whatever because I have some problems with him. But other than that, I think this first episode nails this entire series in a nutshell.
It does. And I think they played it correctly by making it a woman.
Yeah.
Because of how she lured those dirty cops, those politicians in there and be like, it was a lot easier to do it that way than it was to have this stocky guy who looked like a penguin. This fat guy who looked like a penguin to do it that way.
And the funny thing is like, you got to get something new and fresh.
Yes,
Again, I totally understand. If you want the penguin, you're going to get the penguin. I totally get it. But in terms of where we are now in this generation, they're going to change every character to see what changes and if the change works. And you know what? I think it worked for me. Like, if I see it in live action, a female penguin, I'll go, you know what? They did it in the cartoon. Doesn't bother me that much.
Scott says, does this show have more adult dark side or is it still good for kids?
Oh, no, this is dark side.
Yeah,
this is straight dark.
Yeah, this is very dark.
This is not
very dark, Scott. Very dark.
I mean, it is a kid's show, but it's a lot of heavy adults messages.
Yes.
I mean, there's killings. There's a lot of stuff in this.
It's rated TV 14 and on Prime it says adult language and it says violence and it says sometimes alcohol. So it's like they are going, we're not making this for kids.
Yeah, they're pushing it to. They're pushing pretty much. This is like the graphic novel of Batman the animated series, like what it could be if it was an adult version of with not the same type of drawings as the animated series, but it feels like that world because it's the same creator.
I also love the way that Batman is still a myth in here.
Yeah,
kind of like they've heard of him, but no one's really seen him. I like that.
I agree. I agree with you. I think that's where the movies doesn't touch on a bit. Where the Batman did. The Matt Reeves The Batman did do that whole like, did you hear about the Batman? Like that, yes. But in terms of all the other Batmans, you don't get that much of that.
No.
So I do like that in the cartoon form though. I kind of like them trying to steal something. They were like, man, did you hear what happened to Gary? He came up against the Batman.
I like Nate's comment. The animated series is barely for kids anyway.
I agree with Nate.
I totally agree there. That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, it was barely for kids.
Yeah, this one is the same, but like elevated more.
Exactly.
When we get through this,
we move on from the Penguin episode after Batman thwarts that, and I kind of like the tie-in of all the minor storyline in here of how dirty Gotham is. With the cops and everything. That's an overall story arc that's happening in this show, ladies and gentlemen, because of James Gordon who's trying to clean up Gotham. Batman's trying to clean up Gotham. And right now they're not seeing eye to eye. At all.
Well, yeah, they're butting heads because again, this is like it could be like we don't know what year this. It could be year 1, year 2, year 5 of Batman.
I think Bruce Timm said it was year like 2, like
Yeah.
he's still a myth among
Yeah.
so he's relatively still out there as a myth.
Yeah, it feels like a year 1, year 2 storyline because Gordon and Batman is but like he's trying to capture Batman and Batman is like, do I trust this guy throughout the whole thing?
Yes.
And then you got Bullock and the other guy, I forgot his name, Finn or Flick or Flax. Yeah, you have those two that are just straight corrupt. Those dudes are the most corrupt 2 cops, but they hate Batman. So like it's just a circle, a web of like deceit, and I mean it's just, and I like it. Like, to be honest with you, like I really like this type of storylines, and I'm like, this should be put into live action form. And I hope with Matt Reeves' Batman 2, we continue that trend of this type of story because I thought it worked very well.
I did too. And we also go into see episode 2 and be a villain. The introduction of this version of Clayface.
Yeah.
What did you think of, first of all, what did you think of this version of Clayface?
I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, he looks weird and whatever. And it's funny because to me, he looked like very like a Scooby-Doo character. Like most of these characters look Scooby-Doo, and we'll go through them once we go each one.
He looks like he was wearing the creature from a Black Lagoon mask that kind of melted.
Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah.
No, it does. And the thing is, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to tell you right now, out of all 10 episodes, this is my favorite episode because it feels like an old school Universal monster horror movie. Like it felt like House of Wax Batman version.
Yeah.
It is such a great story that I'm like, man, they could just take this and turn it into a 30-minute short film, which I was like, it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
It's just an actor who looks ugly in real life. Like in terms of the cartoon, in real life, he's just ugly. And he's in love with his co-actress, and he tries to get experiments done so he could look better, which is like Botox and all this shit now that we're doing, right? And the guy just does all this chemicals to his face, and his face just becomes rubbery, and he could turn into anyone. I'm like, this is such a dope premise. I don't understand why they can't do it in movies.
Well, I'm wondering if this is why Matt Reeves was executive producer on here. If he decides to do a Clayface, here's your perfect example of how you do it. In a more realistic, believable setting. Because I even like this episode too with the aspect of it all takes place at the studio. You're only outside the studio for maybe a few scenes. For a few scenes. And beyond that, it takes place in the studio. Kind of reminds me of the whole 66, Batman 66, where once they were at a scene, they were at that scene.
Yeah, and you know, it was crazy also, like what you brought up, it felt like very Scream, like the horror movie Scream. Remember, was it Scream 3 or 4 that they were in the horror studio, which is like Sidney's house?
Yeah.
And they're running through that?
Yeah, it was Scream 3 that they were doing Stab 3, yeah.
Yeah, this felt like that. Like them running through a Paramount, Warner Brothers, like, lot. And, you know, well, I don't know. To me, it felt very right. Like, I like this movie a lot. I mean, this episode a lot. I think it hit every note because it felt very old school. And the acting was like, I mean, the acting was phenomenal in this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout all of them, they're great. But this one to me took it to the next level.
I love the ode that they had to Boris Karloff as makeup artist for Frankenstein. When you see his makeup artist, Basil Karloff's makeup artist right there, and it's like they're in that scene and he's like injecting him and placing the prosthetics on his face. That's they actually took that picture and like, let's put this picture in here.
Yeah, that's dope. And you know what's cool though with Clayface that not many people know, or if they do, Clayface, when he turns into rubber, he kills everybody and turns into them. So like he becomes the woman and starts doing movies, and then like for years no one knows this is going on. Until, you know, Batman figures out and everything is going on. But he's doing all this killing stuff. But this origin just feels so right. And I don't know. I just think it's a great
I think the noir setting really helps it out in this one too.
Because it fits the story. Like I said, it was like a House of Wax. Vincent Price could have been Clayface. And I would have been like, yo, this joint is awesome.
I would have been all right with that. So
I'm telling you, Clayface would have been Vincent Price. I think my man. I mean, we all know he's egghead, but I
yeah,
think it would have been like if they would have did this in that time period.
hmm
I could see Vincent Price playing this, or
yes,
Cloud Rains, or the guy who played
yes,
Invisible Man. He would
yes.
have been awesome in this
He would have
character
been.
too.
We go into episode 3, Kiss
All
of
right.
the Catwoman. I kind of like this. A lot of people I've talked to said they didn't like the Catwoman costume. Like, it's her original
Mm.
costume. They're setting it up in that time frame. It's her original costume. Get over yourself. Just because she's wearing a dress and a cape, and it's not a skin tight suit, just get over yourself. That's what it is. I kind of like the whole aspect to it in this one of Bruce going to therapy.
Yep.
and him,
I agree with you. Yeah.
and him just being like, "Yeah, I'm good. Yep, yep, uh-huh."
Well,
And
it shows you the psyche of Bruce.
it does.
Like he's just mind blocking Harley Quinn. Now, again, this is what people don't understand. In this show, Harley Quinn, it's very different and weird the way they did it.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn is a psychiatrist throughout the
Yes.
episodes. She
Mhm.
does get an episode which Ben is going to go to it, but
Mhm.
in this episode they introduce her first as a psychiatrist. So she is Bruce Wayne's psychiatrist, and she's hitting every note, going, "You're trying to, you're trying to divert me. I know what you're doing." Like, and it's so genius
Mhm.
because technically I personally think she knows Bruce Wayne is Batman by this point. I mean, to be honest with you, she should know.
If
But
not this one, but the one later on in an episode where she profiles Batman,
yeah,
I think she
kind of
realizes right then and there that who it is.
Yeah, and she doesn't say nothing, even when she's with the
doesn't.
Joker. Again, Joker's not in this. I want people to understand this. Joker's not in this. They don't even allude to Joker, or they do.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about how they did it.
About that, yes.
But
yes, Emmett Joker wasn't in this because you couldn't tell Batman stories without the Joker.
why did the Joker not appear if the show began? Well, yeah, you don't have to have the Joker in this.
No.
They have Joker in. Joker's in this,
Yeah.
but in the way they did it was genius. You just don't have to have the damn character all the time when you have a Batman story.
Exactly.
I have a feeling they're waiting to introduce him into this big, like he likes a big entrance. Like, why not give it to him in this type of universe?
Why season 1 build the world a little bit more? Debut him at the end. Debut him at season 2.
Yeah, I agree.
He likes a grand entrance, like you said, Alex.
Yeah, just give it to him.
Okay.
Or with Harley, right? She'll be like, "Here's my boyfriend," or something stupid, and he comes out.
I love the aspect here too, that how they loved how they went back on Selina's backstory, which many people don't know, that she's actually from a affluent family, like the Waynes.
Yeah.
She's from that, and she just did a cat burglar stuff because her dad did horrible crap, and they ended up being broke. So she wanted to still live that life of luxury. That's why she committed these crimes. A lot of people don't know that. So,
well, there's many stories to Catwoman. You have she's the daughter of Falcone, right? That's the storyline they're going with. Then you have that one that she's rich and father was a douche and everything happens. Then she has another one where she just self-made herself, and so there's variants of every character in the DC world.
Yes.
What they utilize is the best part. That's the best thing of storytelling. What narrative can you use to elevate these stories? They decided to use the rich route, which I thought it worked for this storyline.
It did.
So yeah,
it worked perfectly well, and it's like, how else will you get into stealing diamonds from the Wayne family if you're not affluent like that? So,
yeah, I get it.
The next one, Night of the Hunters, brought in a character that was a little weird, like villain-wise. Firebug.
Okay. Yeah. So Firefly, which is the character, but they call him Firebug in this one. This is my second favorite episode. This is a very, very good episode, which could turn into a movie, which I don't, it's kind of funny because Warner Brothers said the Batgirl movie was horrible to watch. And if those guys did Bad Boys movies, and I'm like, those Bad Boy movies were really good, I don't think the Batgirl movie was bad. That bad.
I'm wondering if they did something. It's kind of like what they did with Tom Welling in Smallville and how the CW verse couldn't have Batman. Look at Barbara Gordon in this.
She looks just like the movie, the TV show. Yeah.
And think about the character that's in episode 4. It's Firefly. They're like, well, we're having this animated series with them already in it, so why do we need it here? We don't want to confuse people as to who these characters are, type of thing. Like how they had the embargo on Tom Welling since it's considered Smallville can't be Superman, and the embargo of, hey, we are not going to have Batman on any of our projects on TV.
Yeah, you can't say Bruce Wayne. They allowed them to say Bruce Wayne in one episode, but the thing is that like when you see this episode is, first of all, is very good. They did him very dirty at the end of the movie, but the end of the episode, but they did it so well that you hated Bullock and Flask. You were like, yo, these dudes are so diabolical. And it worked.
I loved in here when he put on the goggles for the first time and he saw the fire. And
he was
out on the and the people out on the street became like little fire beans. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. They should do that in a movie. Like he just puts it on and he just sees that.
And it's funny because that was Brandon Fraser's character in the movie, right? He played Firefly, the adult version.
Yeah,
I don't understand. They need to release it. At this point, they need to release it and just let the public say if they like it or not. I mean, I can't see why not, unless they're using this episode to test it out and then push it out. But I do agree with you. I mean, Warner Brothers does stupid stuff all the time with this whole people are going to get confused. I don't understand how people can get confused from a Superman TV show and a Superman movie. They're two different entities.
Exactly.
And that always annoys me.
And even in the comic books, you're running like 3 different Superman story arcs all at once. So
yeah,
or Batman story arcs at the same time too. So
yeah, so you have Batman, Detective Comics, Batman. Then you got the other Batman and Robin and whatever other story, Justice League. But they don't stop these comics going, wait a minute, people are not going to get confused. No, you pick the ones that you like to. I don't know. In terms of this episode, I highly recommend everyone check out episode 2 and episode 4.
Yes,
those two are like the highlights of I mean, we're going to get more into it, but those two are like really good.
This is my favorite, and 2 for me is my number 2. So
ours
are a little bit of backwards. The reason I like this is because it builds the world a whole lot more. Because we see Harley Quinn, she's profiling Batman, and then all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, I learned from Dr. Crane." I'm like, Scarecrow's in this universe now? Wow. Okay. He might not be Scarecrow yet, but we have Dr. Jonathan Crane. Okay.
But you gotta think about this, Ben. Yeah. They're doing it in a way that it works.
Exactly.
Like if they do it in the movie, if they're gonna go, we're gonna go to Jonathan Crane's lab or something, you're gonna be like, oh snap, that's Scarecrow, but he ain't Scarecrow.
Yes,
he's before Scarecrow, but you already know he's gonna be doing some evil experiments in the background. He's just gonna be mad cool in front. And I like this about this show. Harley Quinn is we all know she's a psychiatrist. Not many people do, but she is. Then you have she taught by Jonathan Crane. Like they're all connected, and I love it. Before they become super villains.
Exactly.
They all connected. Who knew Harvey Dent is best friends with Barbara Gordon, which is Batgirl, which is best friends with Bruce Wayne, Batman. So it's like it's all connected. And I'm like, this is so great storytelling because you feel so bad for these characters at the end.
It is. And with 10 episodes, you're like, I'm wondering how the overall storyline will be and everything, but they've nailed it, in my opinion. They've nailed it. Like, next one, episode 5. Speaking of Harley, we get her actual episode, the stress of her regard. I gotta say something, Alex. I freaked out the moment I saw King Tut in here.
King Tut was dope. I ain't gonna lie, King Tut was dope. I like that one too. But the highlight for me in this episode is how they're using Harley Quinn to create Joker.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's the real Joker, because remember, at the end of the episodes, you do get to see the real Joker.
Yeah.
Like but I think, can the real Joker be using her to see if she can make other Jokers appear? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like henchmen or type thing.
The Joker that looked in here was a 66. You know how they always show that picture of Cesar Romero with the mask, like the Heath Ledger that they're calling it mask? That guy was dressed up exactly like Cesar Romero in that episode.
Yeah.
Complete with the makeup there, too. It's like, this is awesome. and I love her look. I know they got rid of the red, but I
Hanging that.
love. I mean, it fits more with the noir theme.
Yeah.
It does, rather than the redwood. The redwood stand out too much. The gold and black, and how she just looked more like a jester than everything, which kind of brought that whole aspect of fear into it because people are afraid of clowns. And then all of a sudden, hey, here's a jester, and it's like this. The only gripe I have about this episode, Hastings, the guy whose house it is, where she's doing the experiments.
Oh, okay.
They don't tell you that story of how he's working with her.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, in terms of like when you said about her golden suit black, I kind of like it. I agree with you. I like it too, but I guess she gets the red and black when she's with Joker, right? Because she's in love with him and all this crap. So I like the gold black. I mean, it's cool, Jester looking, but I agree with you. There's a lot of, this one had a little bit of plot holes here and there because like they hinted that she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
Because she went out with Montoya, was it?
Montoya, who we know in the comic books is. So
yeah, so she's going out on dates with her or trying to go out on a date with her, which I don't care. It is what it is with the storyline. But I was just a little like, okay, but how is this gonna affect the overall story? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how is Montoya relationship with Harley? Because it doesn't do nothing there, right? When they find out, the only one that they affected was Barbara Gordon at the end because they were best friends.
She was best friends with Harley, yes. So,
which is another freaking circle thing going. Holy crap! Like she was best friends with Harvey Dent and Harley Quinn at the end. So,
and we were talking about this before we started. I love the callback here to the 1940s serials, where Renee Montoya's go meet Harley for a date at the corner of Wilson and Lowry. For those of you that don't know, Lewis Wilson was the first man ever to play the live-action Batman in the 1943 serials. For those of you that don't know what serials are, they were previews before previews happened. You would go to the theater every week. You would get a new serial or even a new news video because 30s, 40s, we were at war. So they would play all that stuff before the movie even started. So you were going to the theaters every week to try and catch these serial stories. Robert Lowry was the second man to play it. So I kind of love the fact that they mentioned these two guys as streets on there. I'm like, that's awesome. That's people who know their stuff and love the history of the character to throw stuff in there like that.
Well, yeah, but if you look at the Cape Crusader, he's literally looking like a serial. Yeah. He looks just like the 1940 whatever he Batman does. With the ear.
He does.
So
he looks like the original, not the original comic book version of Batman. That's
yes.
Yeah. And that's what
yeah. So yeah, I mean, like to me, this episode was a little bit weak for me, but I liked it overall. It was good. It wasn't like bad, but it was just a little okay.
It was more building.
Yeah.
It was in future. Yeah.
It does, and it felt very Smallville. If you know what I mean, it felt very like TV show Smallville. I was just like, oh, okay.
It did. It kind of also felt a little 66 to me too.
Yes.
Like
comical.
How everyone was in costumes. Like she had everyone in these costumes based on their personalities because she used her therapy appointments. And then Pennyworth is like, I'm glad you decided not to go back to her, sir.
Yeah. But I think Batman would have not. Yeah, he would have figured it out. He would have knew how to like divert everything. Because he was when they were doing it. Yeah. So.
And it's court ordered because he got into a fight in the Catwoman episode, so it's a court ordered therapy session.
Oh, I didn't bring that up because that was like my favorite part of the episode.
Go for it.
He literally punches a news reporter in the face. And you know why? And I loved it. And I was like, why didn't I never do this in the movie? Like, they never did this in the movie. The news reporter guy was talking shit about Bruce Wayne's mom. Why did she wear the pearls in the alleyway knowing that he was like, she got what she deserved. And he literally tapped him and punched him in front of everybody. And I said, oh, I love this. Like, they need to do this in the movie one time.
Yeah.
Because I felt mad. I was like, yo, what's the dude talking shit about my man?
We got a little bit of that in the animated series with Bruce. Well, like, you saw his temper. But here you actually see it. It's more kiltered. It's more, not necessarily, it's unfiltered here.
It's very unfiltered. He doesn't control it yet, and that's why you can see like seasoned Batman would have just let it slide and did something horrible to him, like Bruce Wayne would have done, but like buy the newspaper report and get him fired or something. But yeah, this one he's like his attitude, like he treats Alfred like shit in this season. Oh my god, I'm like, this dude is horrible to Alfred.
But we also see that a lot because a lot of that is his childhood trauma. A lot of that is still that, and him not coming over that, not realizing who Alfred, or as he calls him, Pennyworth in here, which I really loved, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't call him Alfred
until the end, where they kind of grow into that relationship more. You kind of see what he means to Bruce after all, rather than just a butler.
My only thing with Alfred in this, I felt he was very different. Like I didn't like this type of Alfred. I didn't feel like he was the guardian. Like, you know, when you watch all the other Batmans, Alfred is the guardian. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing X? Why are you doing this? This one wasn't. Like, he was afraid to tell him something. Like, he was going to get hit with back, which he does. I mean, he tells him a lot of times throughout the episode, and then he gets yelled at. He goes, listen to me, Pennyworth. And I was like, damn, douche. Like, I was like, you're evil. But anyway, in terms of this episode, I wasn't too crazy with it, but I thought very small villainy.
Yes. Night Ride is next. Episode 6, Night Ride, where we get the Gentleman Ghost. This is very, I go, this is very Scooby-Doo-ish.
Very Scooby-Doo. Oh, this is not good.
You even have Papa Midnight from Constantine in here. I'm going, what? Like, I'm like, seriously, you're bringing a Constantine character in here for this? But Gentleman Ghost is actually a villain in DC Comics. But when you see Papa Midnight at the end with the top hat, I go, that's how Gentleman Ghost actually looks in the comic books. But I'm like going, how? And but it also did something important too in the Batman mythos. It showed him a way to figure out stuff and rely on other people who are experts in their fields in something he doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, he relies for the first time on other people. And this is where his love for Alfred shows.
Yes.
And Alfred sacrificing himself towards the end, and he got really mad at him. But you could see it really crushed him when it happened. But my thing is very Scooby-Doo. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, this episode was kind of boring. I'm not, and I want people to understand this is a good season. But throughout, some episodes are boring, and I was telling Ben this when we were off air. Some episodes just felt slow. This one was one of them. I was just like, oh my god, now he's fighting a supernatural, and it's sometimes the same thing with like Superman and magical characters, right? Like he can't fight magic for some reason. That's his other weakness, which is so stupid. But it just doesn't work for me. This one was okay because it told a lot of other stories with Harvey Dent, which we're gonna cover because he gets a lot of love in these episodes. But Lucius Fox, they didn't show him. They mentioned, I believe.
No, they showed him.
They did?
There was a guy sitting in Wayne Manor with him, and the guy who was in the house getting the paperwork signed.
But that was like a millisecond. It wasn't like
no, it wasn't. But I love the thing is like, excuse me, Mr. Wayne, there's this discretionary account that you have. Do you want me just to take money out of that for this project? No, don't touch that. That's my mad money. That's my spending money. And then he's kind of thinking, okay, like you kind of see the cogs starting to turn in Lucius's head. He's like, okay, he's up to something. Like,
yeah, it was very Dark Knight. Batman Begins.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, this episode was weak. In terms of the overall villain of the episode,
it was, and it was very weird why they brought this guy in here. I just felt like they wanted something different, just to kind of split up everything, because shortly after that, 7, 8, 9, and 10 kind of tell a story.
It connects very well.
It connects everything else. So I think this was that one filler story. They're like, we have to put somebody in here just to split it, so we could tell this story, this overarching story that's going to happen in the second half.
Yeah, I agree.
So, next one is Moving Target. I gotta say, the twist in this, I wasn't expecting.
This was a big episode. I can say my fourth episode favorite.
Okay.
I thought it was very good. Felt very oh, what's that movie? Nate brought the damn thing on 4K with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson and
Departed.
Matt Damon. The Departed. It felt very Departed this episode for some reason.
We find
Mad
out that
plot twist.
yeah, we find out that there's a hit on Gordon. They just said there's a hit on Gordon. That's all. That's all we
Yeah.
know throughout the episode. So they're trying to make Jim Gordon safe. The twist, if you guys don't mind me spoiling it, is that it was actually a hit on Barbara,
Yeah.
not James. And I like that because she's a prosecutor who's by the book, wants to put all these criminals away, but yet, hey, because of how corrupt the system is in Gotham, she can't. So they're trying to put a hit out on her to stop her from doing stuff.
Yeah, and it's a very good episode. A lot of car chases, shootouts.
It felt very much more so you wanted a noir setting and a noir scenes. This kind of brought that to the foreground.
Yeah,
Even
and Batman and Batman showing up and helping Gordon, and I think that's where Gordon started to trust him.
Yes.
Well, he started to trust him even in the Firefly episode with
exactly.
the kids. That's where he first trusted him.
Because he sees
But
Batman holding those kids, and he's like, maybe this guy isn't bad after all. Like, maybe there's a heart to him.
Yeah, and
I loved Onomatopoeia here. That was the villain's name, Onomatopoeia, because what those of you who are not English people who don't know what like the terminology onomatopoeia is, it's a sound. When you make the sound, it sounds like the sound you're making, like an oil drip, is a blip, blip, blip. When a gun shoots, it's bang. So it's I kind of like that's all this character said. And that's all he says in the comic books too. And it's like, this guy is kind of cool. It's like, okay.
He is cool. I mean, when Batman fights him, it's a pretty good fight. It's a pretty good fight. Yes, but then it was over once Batman figures out his weakness. It was done.
Like we brought up the setting of the Clayface one. I love the setting where this main action takes place in the fog on the dock of that harbor. Because it's all foggy and everything.
And he's grabbing them. He's like,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good scenery here. And again, it's a great story. You guys check it out in terms of storytelling. But this one is really good. And I think this is where... No, it comes in the next episode.
Yes. This one is here where Dozer and Nicholson are mentioned on the radio. William Dozer, who was the executive producer and director of Batman 66, and Jack Nicholson, they pay homage to them in here saying, oh, we have a car spot on Dozier Avenue or Nicholson Street, stuff like this.
Yeah, they have some good stuff.
Yes, Scott, the show is on Amazon Prime, check it out.
Yeah.
10 episodes. 10 episodes, and each episode's about 23 to 25 minutes, so it's a decent length. So, nothing too long. Episode 8, Nocturne.
Okay, this reminded me of an X-Files episode. Mm-hmm. And the reason it reminded me of an X-Files episode, because I kind of like the whole circus freak, like, not your typical circus type thing, women with beards, like Greatest Showman type thing. But this one, a guy doesn't, Killer Croc, right? And then you have, like, this one, the guy does an experiment on his sister where she sucks the life force off people.
Nocturna is the villain's name, Nocturna or Natalia Knight.
Yeah, so she sucks this life force. So she's just killing kids or taking kids, and people are looking for the kids, and he's like, no, what are you doing? One more, that's it.
What got me into this episode more is when they were at the... I'm like, okay, this is weird. And then all of a sudden, at the carnival, when you see Leslie Tompkins, Dr. Leslie Tompkins in there, I'm like, yes. You're bringing somebody in from the animated series who was a fan favorite, who people loved. And it's like, she's still working with kids. But it also is my biggest gripe about this episode.
What's your gripe?
The kids.
Oh.
Dickie, Jace, Carrie, and Steffi. You have 4 out of your 5 Robins in this episode that are not exactly Robins yet. We don't know if, like, Dick seemed all, hey, let's go to the carnival, let's sneak in. When it's like, shouldn't your parents have been killed by now in that, and you shouldn't have been that you should have been the one to be like, no, I don't want to go because of that trauma and everything. But I just felt like I understand why they brought him in because of the episode, because of the villain who sucked the life out of kids. I understood that, but it's also like, did we really need him?
Well, I will say this. I don't think those names are, yes, those are characters that played Robin, but I don't think that's Dick Grayson. See, when
because
Batman...
They did say it was Steffi Brown.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, we all know Dick Grayson's the first Robin.
He
but
had the little curls.
Yeah, but again, we all know that Dick Grayson was more of a he's part of the circus, right? Yeah. And then the tragedy happens there. Yes. I just think it's just a coincidence that these kids' names are, just to get people wild up
and look like them. Yeah, I can see that now since you said that. But it kind of took me out of that episode.
Okay. I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
And he was tough, and he fought back, and he should. And I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool. But I don't think that's the real Dick Grayson. Because that's way too early, year 2, him as a kid. Like, unless you're gonna do like a Dominic Wayne freaking character that he's super small. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a kid version of him. But I don't see that. But I mean, I like the episode. I thought the episode was pretty cool. But my highlight of this is the ending.
The ending
is the best part.
Where we're at that courthouse, and then Harvey Dent's going for mayor, and he has to do something for Rupert Thorne, and then all of a sudden he doesn't do it. He goes against what he said he would do. Gets acid thrown in his face.
In the bathroom.
Not in the courthouse. In the bathroom of the courthout.
After he washes his hand after he took a piss. They waited for him to dry his hand.
Yes. At least the guy was a gentleman. At least
he was a gentleman.
At least Tony Zuko was a gentleman in that aspect.
He was a did you dry your hands? Yeah, why? Splash. Yeah. I mean,
when stories, when 7, 8, and 9 and 10 start rolling, it starts the story, the overall smaller arcing story comes forefront, and that's kind of what I like.
I like how they set up Harvey. So Harvey Dent from episode 1 all the way up to episode 8, when the tragedy happens, was running for mayor. He was a little arrogant. He was like not kicking it to Barbara, but they had this relationship of like they don't like each other here and there, right? But I think the way they handled the entire storyline the arc worked very well. Now, episode 9 to 10, I think to me is one of the best of Two-Face storytelling. That it could be.
I agree too. So, just give me 1 second here. Sometimes I hate using my phone as a camera. So I'm just switching it right now to warrant that. So there we go. I should be good now. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I'm good. Anyway, yeah, okay. I agree with you there. Yeah, I know the one over here isn't. There we go. And I know with all that, I liked the progression, like you said, of Harvey. From the arrogant, cocky guy to all of a sudden, in the next episode, he breaks down.
He does so good,
and I kind of like the reveal with him being scarred, because it's the opposite side that is normally scarred on him. If you always notice, it's when you look at him, it's always the left side that's scarred.
Right,
it's his right side that's scarred this time. So it's a little bit different, and I love how it doesn't change how the entire thing doesn't change his skin color.
No, I think, well, we got to what, episode 9?
Yeah.
The Killer Inside Me? Yeah. I love the way they revealed it.
Yes.
And this is why. Bruce Wayne takes him out to dinner, or I think it was dinner or lunch. Yes. I think it was dinner, because he stood home the whole time after the incident. He was like, you got to get out.
Like he wants to be. Being a good friend like Bruce is trying to be.
If you thought that was the case,
yes.
Alfred was like, you used him and you turned him into Two-Face. And I said, what? And he got pissed off at Alfred because Alfred was right. He's like, why did you use your friend that way? Batman had a motive. And you know, Bruce would never take nobody out to dinner or nothing because he's just a guy that just wants to be alone. So he takes his friend out to public to see what would happen. And that is a dick move. Yeah. And what happens is one of the best cinematic cartoon things I ever seen. He loses himself. And dude, the way he loses himself is so freaking genius. Mm-hmm. The girl's like, do you need anything? Being so nice. And he was like, do you think I'm having a good day? Or the guy that went up to the table, he said, hey, what's up, Harvey? How you doing? He goes, I would like to take this knife and jab it in your throat. And Bruce is like,
and how he thought he was hearing people's conversations everywhere.
Yeah.
And they alluded to that fact where he's having that dream in the beginning part of this episode where he's one mayor and you only see the side of his face. And they're like, he's scarred. He's a monster. And it's like, I love that it's dealing with his psyche a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, and you see it, and I like it because he's literally, it's like a split personality that he's literally the bad guy is taking over. And like, so good.
Like any other person. It's not like any other version of Two-Face where he's scarred, then all of a sudden, hey, look, I'm evil.
No.
The progression in there is actually, before the reveal, the progression's there. You see it.
Well, the progression's there, but it looks like he bottled, like the way they show the show episodes is that he bottled a lot of stuff that he wanted to take out on people. He bottled it in, and now he has this side of him that is now going to come out. And when it comes out, it is really ruthless, and I like it. Like, this episode is just straight killings and mayhem from him. He goes, he kills a dude in the bar. He beats his ass like no tomorrow. He kills a guy in the. You think he's gonna save a guy in the alleyway? Nope. He kills the guy. Like, it is just such a downfall, and it's all because of Batman.
Yes.
Like, it's literally, he created Two-Face in this one. Like, it's nuts.
Kind of like in Dark Knight, where he kind of creates Two-Face by saving Rachel over him.
Well, no, I think when it comes to Dark Knight, I believe it was more Joker. Heath Ledger is the one who drove him to Two-Face. Because he started to be like, you know, he started to attack, like pushing him to get that bad side out. Yeah, he is bad. He's pissed off at Batman because, well, first of all, how the hell did Batman know he was going to switch up the apartment? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he can't blame, I mean, he could blame him all he wants, but in reality, Joker played the game on him. So in this one, Bruce literally took this guy out knowing that he was going to snap. Mm-hmm. And he did.
Which brings us into the final episode, Savage Night. I was like, when I first heard the title of it, I'm like, oh, what's this one going to be about? And then seeing after the last one, I'm like, oh, really? So they're actually having a kind of a 2-part episode. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was a genius way to end it in 2 parts.
It was. I loved that these last 3, like I said, 8, 9, and 10, tell a bigger story. Flush out the world a little bit more. Flush out his rogues gallery a little more. I love how Harvey's conniving and calculated in this episode. Well, like, he's thinking about things. He's like talking with himself a lot. I love that.
Yeah, that is a genius thing that they added to him. Another genius thing I like is that his good side is not as dominant as the bad guy. Yeah. But when he's around someone that he knows or he doesn't want to hurt, the good guy will outweigh the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And I love the scenes with Barbara Gordon and him because he's like, shut the I'm so sorry. I can't, you got to let me go. They want me. So like throughout that episode, like I like that. Like, and it worked.
And I love how the end fight scene where Bullock has the gun to Barbara.
Oh, yeah.
About to pull it. James has a gun to Bullock's head. Be like, drop it. Flask is in the fog, getting ready to shoot Barbara. Harvey jumps in front of the bullet for her.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's like in his final, in one of what supposedly we think he's dead. I mean, we don't know. We don't see the blood. We don't see where the gunshot actually shot him in the back. It could have missed vital organs. It couldn't. It probably didn't. But
Yeah, my cop outs is, and this is a problem I always hate, is when they kill villains.
Yeah.
And with Two-Face, I don't think he's dead. He got shot in the back.
Yeah.
I don't think he's dead. They alluding to his death, which it pissed me off in The Dark Knight, because I'm like, this guy is such a good Two-Face that they killed him off. And I'm like, why? He could have just been a villain in 3 if he broke out. So it would have been so much better. But anyway, in terms of the storyline, I agree with you. This entire chase, the entire them trying to kill Harvey because he knew so much, and Batman is trying to protect one of his best friends, and he can't. And he knew what and that's the thing, right? This whole episode is called Savage Night, and I think it's a double meaning.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you would agree with me on this one. I feel like this is a double meaning. Meaning, one, the bad guys are trying to kill Harvey.
Mhm.
But in reality, I feel this episode is more about the torment of Batman not seducing, but turning his friend into now one of the most, like, a villain for no reason. Like, there was no reason for him to turn him, taking him out into public to humiliate him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, like, I feel like this episode is more of a Batman, like, it's a really Two-Face thing. It's Batman being a dick,
yes,
turning his best friend into a villain for no apparent reason. There was no reason for him to do it, but he did. And that's why Alfred was pissed off at him for it. Then you have Two-Face being good, trying to be good, trying to save Barbara, and he does. And he kills so many people within 2 episodes that it's like there is so much savagery throughout the entire episode. You're like, Jesus, like, how can they? And it's so good. Honestly, it's really so good.
I see what you mean by I see what you're saying by the double meaning on that, and I completely agree with that. And especially here, like, I love how you see the Batman and Gordon relationship actually begin.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like,
and Flask, right?
Yeah,
Remember Flask?
Yeah.
Batman picks up the gun and everyone thought he's going to shoot, you know?
He shoots a gun, but he purposely misses his head each time.
Good target, though.
Yes. Good. Very good target.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell Bruce has actually been to target practice.
Oh, he shot really well with those guns.
Yes.
I mean, Barbara Gordon was scared.
Yeah. I even like Gordon, who says, they're coming. If you're here, I have to arrest you.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. And Bruce is like, Batman just looks at him and goes, I can trust you now. And it's like, boom, and leaves. He finally calls Alfred.
Yeah.
And no longer Pennyworth, which is after that whole thing of he almost lost him. The only family he has does that. And did you love the animated series callback in the final moments where he's standing on top
with
of the
lightning?
building? Yeah, it was with the lightning. I kind of love that. And I love how he just throws the batarang into Rupert Thorne's window from that distance. And he's just like, and Rupert Thorne sees him, and it's that scene. It's like, yeah, that's how you need to end a live action Batman movie, folks.
well, yeah, because that tells him like, bitch, I know what you're doing, and I'm always gonna be here. Whatever you do, I'm gonna foil it, and that's that right there. And you know, in a nutshell, like this entire 10 episodes, I highly recommend it. Like, if you hear a lot of negatives, don't pay attention to it until you watch all 10 episodes. Then you make your own conclusion. Honestly, there's going to be things that anybody ain't going to like. There's things that I don't like. But at the end of everything, I'm a big Batman fan, and I enjoy the stories for what it is. I collect tons of Batman comics. Some of them are pieces of crap, but I enjoy reading them because it's Batman comics. And it's like, and that's the thing, like, now I'm just at a point now, it's just like, if you enjoy the property, just enjoy it for what it is. Exactly. Because they don't have to make this. They never had to make this. And for a lot of people to take this and go, you know, I don't like the Batman voice. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't like the guy who did the Batman voice.
Yeah, I didn't care for the voice myself either.
It felt weird. Like, you should have just did a normal voice. Like, Justin Ackles does a really good Batman voice and a normal voice because it's just his normal voice, like any Batman. This guy tries to be Cameron Conroy, And it's not his fault, because I bet the voice directors are like, we need you to sound more raspier, more, you know, like Kevin did.
It's also very weird to listen to Diedrich Bader's voice as Harvey Dent after you've heard him on Batman Brave and the Bold for so many years.
Yeah, and you know what? He sounded great.
He did. He did.
He sounded really good.
Haley Joel Osment as Nocturna's brother. Yeah, that was Haley Joel Osment. Like they got great cast of characters, actors in here for this, just kind of like they did with the animated series. So it's like people love the property, people love Batman. That shows you we want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even mind if they got famous voice actors.
Exactly.
I mean, famous actors to play villains like they did in '66.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Christina Ricci was in here.
She played Selena Kyle.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. So again, like, I have no problems with it.
Exactly.
Like, I think I like woman. I like the female Penguin. I thought it worked. I loved Clayface. I loved Firefly / Firebug.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't like much of the Ghost. I liked the X-Files freaking episode, the girl that could suck souls. Harvey Dent was like the high. Honestly, Harvey Dent, Clayface, and Penguin and Selena Kyle were the 4 big actress highlights of this entire season.
And
more than Batman, to be honest.
3 of which are his biggest adversaries besides Clayface.
Yeah.
I just love how they're using Clayface more. Someone who is a minor joke of a character, and they're kind of making him a lot more prominent, a lot more different, and a lot better of a character, in my opinion. So,
and I agree. And I will say this. I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's fine.
My thing is that you didn't need to have the big players in season 1, like you said. So now let's say you bring up season 2, right?
Yes. So
we don't know who it's going to be,
no,
right?
We don't.
But let's just say right now, Joker, right? You're going to have Joker.
Yes.
You're going to have Scarecrow.
Yes.
But maybe they're going to do like an origin, Jonathan Crane turning into Scarecrow type thing. The introduction of Mr. Freeze as a human, maybe.
Yes. Maybe.
Right?
Maybe. Yeah.
You might have Man-Bat. Might, right? Riddler.
Since you're in a noir setting, would you introduce Tommy Elliott?
Why not?
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
There's another friend of Bruce. Like, you don't have to actually say, oh, at this time of his career, he had Joker. Joker didn't come around in the comic books or in the comic strips until almost towards the end of their run, before they were going into comic book form. Joker wasn't around until then. So it's like,
dude, they have so many characters that they could utilize, and they don't have to even go crazy. Like, they could use, like, you can have the Joker as Joker, right?
Yeah,
season 2. Yeah.
Well, like, you still have Penguin at large. We know Harley's alive.
Well, Penguin got arrested.
Yeah, Penguin got arrested. No, but we still know Penguin's around.
Yeah. She's
Clayface could still be around for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Harley, we know, is alive.
Yep. Firefly died.
Firefly, he died. He
died.
Yeah. He died. Harvey is up in the air as to if he's dead or not.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you can have season 2 with Joker, the origin of Scarecrow, tying in Dr. What's his name? Mr. Freeze.
Yes.
You have so much. You could, oh my God, you could even have Dr. Strange? It's not Strange. The other guy, the Chinese guy with the glasses. What's his name?
Hugo Strange.
Hugo Strange, which is technically Doctor Strange. But yeah.
In this world, I would love a Professor Pig.
Why not? I can see what he will fit.
It makes sense. Like
dude, Professor Pig, bro, could be like the Jigsaw of the noir.
Yes.
Like that would be really cool.
Dude, that's your underlying story, that there's this clues that are being left around. And you think, oh, it's the Riddler. It's Professor Pig.
You could do that. You could have, what's the other guy, the bullhead guy that cuts himself a lot?
Victor Zsasz. Yeah, Zsasz.
Victor Zsasz kicks that ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can you can leave that on the wall. Victor Zsasz kicks ass.
It lends itself a lot more to reestablishing or re-imaging these characters that have been around forever.
Yeah, and you know, I have no problems if they want to re-image them to whatever they want, as long as it fits. You know what? Like I said, female Penguin worked for me.
Yeah,
I liked it. Why not? It worked. Now, don't take every character and just turn them female, because then it's not going to work.
Exactly.
but
Exactly. I loved the ending after the whole Rupert Thorne thing and how they led up to the Joker in season 2.
yeah.
Like, I have a theory on that. That the
Hmm.
Joker says, "Oh, it's perfect." I'm going. If you haven't read Three Jokers, I suggest you guys do out there. I know Alex has. I know I have.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're getting not necessarily the Joker yet, but I don't. I think that's either. I think that's either Jonathan
Criminal.
Crane. I think that's Jonathan Crane
Okay.
with the eyes that we see. I don't think that's a Joker because he's using
Mm.
the serum to try and figure out if it would work. So he's trying to create something. He's trying to create this anarchy or the symbol of chaos, as Joker's later been known as. So, do we get the Red Hood? Maybe. In this setting, it would be
Oh.
dope. It would be very dope if it
And it
fits in the
fits with the cape and the
It
bullet
does.
red head. Yeah, it could
does.
work. It could work.
It could. Would the comedian work? Maybe, maybe not, or just
Actually, it could in a
could.
comedy club
Yes.
in noir setting could
Yes.
work too.
It could work. I mean, all three versions of Joker, even though they use just a chaotic psychopath, would work in here too.
Yeah.
So which way are they going? We don't know. But you see it at the end. They're all smiling, and you hear the laugh. You're like, Joker's here. Well, like you think it's actually the Joker, and then they don't show you it. You just show you the hand with the syringe and then the eyes. I'm going.
But you saw the real Joker.
Yes.
Like that's the thing.
Yes.
It's like they went. These are not the Joker.
No.
This is the Joker that you're gonna
yes.
get in season 2.
Yes.
And you know what I liked about it, Ben? The fact that he didn't speak.
Exactly.
So we don't know who voices the Joker now.
No.
It could be somebody famous. It could be a famous voice actor or actress.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say actress, there's women out there that do sound like guys and play guy
Yes.
roles. So that's why I'm saying actresses. So it could really be up in the air for that. But honestly, I'm very hope first that this gets a 4K so I can buy it. And then
Yes.
two,
Yes.
two, I hope they announce a season 2.
Yes.
Because they didn't announce anything yet on if it's gonna be a second season.
No, but they were seeing how popular it would be first before they did that. I'm going.
Yeah.
By what I'm seeing, I'm like, yeah, it's definitely gonna have a season 2.
I hope so. And if they release it physically and people buy it, I can't see why not. I mean,
exactly. It's also Batman, so it's like I think that has a little bit of hey, we're gonna prolong this as long as we can.
Oh, talk about Batman. Let me tell people something. My man hit 3 people with a car. And I want people
Several
to
times.
understand. For people that bitch and complain that Ben Affleck Batman used 50 caliber bullets and destroyed people's cars, this Batman ran over 3 people with his Batmobile. Literally skidded and smacked the shit out of them. And I think they're hurt or dead. Man didn't give a crap. I mean, he ran through a barricade without even using gadgets. So this tells you that this Batman is unedged.
Yeah.
He's not a people person right now, not the Batman that you know.
Yes.
But he's growing up to be that. So I like I said, I like it. I thought it worked for me, but it was kind of funny though.
Alex, to close up here, I have one last question that I want answered. Who should watch this? Is this just basically for Batman fans of DC, or do you think somebody just coming into the world of Batman would recommend this for?
I honestly will say this is for anybody that enjoys animated cartoons. Now, I'm not talking about like if you're into like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, you're gonna love this. I mean, if you're into DC Comics, then yeah. I think this is for I think they really made this Cape Crusader for diehard animated series fans. And I believe so. And I think they also made it for diehard Batman fans for the Easter eggs, right? For people who know their stuff.
Yes.
But if you're going to ask me that, I will say this is for anybody. Like anyone could watch this. You don't have to know the comics. You don't have to watch the movies. You don't have to do nothing. Just sit down and enjoy the storytelling that they're telling. And honestly, I think they all fantastic stories. Some of them might be boring to you. Some of them you might agree, you might disagree. Yeah. But I tell you right now, episode 2, episode 4, episode 8 and 9, episode 7, 9, and 10 are the highlights of this entire thing.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good we both said we enjoyed about half of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
We thought
the
they were
5 out of 4. Yeah.
yes, 5 out of 10. That's decent score for a series, especially a first season that sets up everything.
Yeah, but if you ask me,
Yeah.
what do I think overall, I will give it like an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Because I love this scenery.
Yeah.
The storylines are all fantastic. I mean, they're all great. Some of them are weak, but they're still good and strong. It's not fillers. You have that one filler episode, but it's still good though. It's not as horrible, the ghost story one, right? Yes. And I kind of, you know what it is? I kind of like the reinventing of all these villains, and I love how everything connects in the world. So I'm like, you know what? This is really, they know their stuff. And for someone like me that's a huge Batman fan, it worked for me. So I'm like, you know what? This is an 8 out of 10 for me if I'm going to score it out of 10. So yeah.
For me, I'm right there with you. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. And for me, this is how you properly build a world and introduce characters into that world that makes sense and overarch them together. Kind of like the early stages of the MCU where it's not just like a cameo here, a cameo there. It's like, let's start building this world together.
Yeah,
kind of like
I agree.
Kind of like what DC did with their Arrowverse. How they started building that. Like, here's Arrow, here's Flash. Oh, let's get them together. Okay, let's build them together. Okay, here we go. Then here's Supergirl. Let's build her in here. Throw her in here.
But the problem with that is that then they destroyed it.
Exactly.
Right? Because it was cool the first time when you got Flash and Arrow. Yeah. Because those shows were hyped up. Yes. I mean, those shows were really popular. And you agree with me. Those things were so, I mean, Arrow pushed it to the next limit.
And it was right at their heyday. Well, like,
yeah, it was the peak of
Arrow when Flash debuted. On that Arrow episode. And then even when they teamed up later, Flash was at its peak.
Right, but the thing is like, if it wasn't for Smallville, you're not getting Arrow.
No,
like, people got to understand that. Yes, Smallville paved the way for Arrow and all these shows. But my thing is like, Arrow changed the landscape from a adult TV show type thing, right? On the character that nobody give two craps about, right? So, but
he's a Robin Hood Bruce Wayne.
Right. And then once they introduced the Flash, I was like, yo. And then Craig Gunston did a great job in the first season. And I was like, damn, this thing is good. I was hooked. I was like, man, this is a great thing. Then they put them together, and I went, no freaking way. Supergirl came out. Melissa Burnett. Freaking, I love her. I thought she was great. But then it just became CW. And I was like, this is really bad. Because the heart of those shows. And I felt like season 1 through 5 of Arrow were the best. And then it just fell apart. The Flash was good season 1 and 2, and that's it. Because I stopped after season 2. Supergirl, after episode 1, I was like, oh, this is not good. But I thought she was great. But anyway, I agree. I just think I think this is for a lot of people.
Yes.
They just got to give it time and let them enjoy it.
Yes. I also like I said, they have, now that they know there's a cohesive story, there's an underlying story throughout all 10 episodes, which kind of brings it that way. It's like, and it was one of those things that was that way, and it's like, oh, okay. That brings a little bit more into why they broke it up the way they did.
Yeah.
Well, like, because in the animated series, those were all standalone episodes. Not unless it was a 2-parter, it never went into the next one. So I think that's kind of differentiates us, and I kind of figure out that's where the hate is, because you're like, oh, the animated series was like, sure, formulaic. Here's the first episode, second, third, and you just brought in these characters. They, except for like maybe a couple episodes, they never cross paths with each other. The villains.
No, but I think this is great still, because 1 through 10, regardless if you mix match the episodes, you still understand what's going on.
Exactly.
At the end.
Exactly, and I agree with that. So, Alex, I just want to say thank you for coming on and doing this. I know originally we wanted to do something on your channel with this. Schedules didn't work and everything, so I just thank you for reaching out and be like, hey, I know you're doing this. You mind if I come on? I'm like, sure. Why not, man?
Yeah.
I've been on your channel several times.
I threw myself on the channel
times, so I'm like, here you go. Well, why don't you come on mine? So,
yeah.
So tell everyone where they can find you, man.
So you can find me on Geeks and Flicks over on YouTube. Me and Nate, we we're starting to ramp up our content. So now we're doing a lot more movie reviews on the channel, a lot more unboxings. We're doing live show. We're back this Sunday live, which we're going to be talking about the Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. We're going to be talking about a lot of Marvel news, a lot of DC news coming out because Superman finished filming. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff, a lot of box office stuff we're going to talk about. So we're going to have a lot of fun during the live stream. Nate is going to be reviewing on Friday, I believe, is Borderlands. He said I think he texted me would be Borderlands, and then another thing called Coco or Cuckoo, some horror movie coming out that he's gonna Cuckoo, something like that. Like that's coming out Saturday. Yeah, so he has Borderlands and Cuckoo coming out. That's going to be a short. Then I have tomorrow will be my Batman 89. I'm doing a DC retro rewind where I take my series. That series is pretty much me watching every DC movie ever made, even the ones I'd never seen before. It's the first time watches, and a lot of movies I haven't seen in a long time. So pretty much is a lot of revisits, but that I've been enjoying that series. I'm continuing now. So we're up to 89 Batman. So we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, we have Nate's 50 states, 50 movies. He's doing the Forrest Gump, which is Alabama. He's starting alphabetical. So we have a lot of stuff for a lot of people on the channel. I'm not yet doing statues because I'm building custom shelves. If you notice, it's empty on this side of the room. I'm starting to do custom shelves across. Then I'll start doing unboxing with statues, which I have brand new stuff I'm trying to reveal to people. And it's funny because there's a lot of Batmans. I have this. My wife hates it because I have so much Batman coming in. I have Nightmare Batman, like a big one, Ben Affleck one. Yeah,
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I have a huge one, and I was like, "Holy crap!" But yeah, so other than that, Geeks and Flicks. And if you guys are into podcasting, me and Nate also do a action movie podcast. And I enjoy those. Those are really fun. Me and Nate sit down. We watch 2 movies a week. We watch a franchise movie, which we're right now on the Monsterverse. So we just released today Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. That just came out today. You guys can check that out. It's Action Movie Guys on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio. And then we do franchise. So those are fun too. I mean, we're doing franchise and then we're doing solo action movies, meaning like it's a theme month and then we're doing the themes. So it's pretty fun. So like I said, if you're into the Monsterverse, we so far tackled almost all of them. So today was like the newest one from 2024. I never saw it, so this is the first time me giving my review. So that's actually pretty fun. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Geeks and Flicks here on YouTube. Subscribe.
And for those of you that have been following my channel, you guys can catch me on Instagram on the BINBUSTER, all social media there, right here on YouTube. I talk movies. I'm starting back up to doing some movie reviews and stuff off my shelves, actually, like behind me. Like I'm just go grab something and watch it. September, I got a theme month coming, all about me because it's my birthday month. So it's like it's like
about me.
I'm going to be reviewing a lot of my favorite movies. And the whole thought process behind that is it still what I thought it was when I first watched it and made me fall in love with this movie? Is it still holds that to me being this many years later? So it's going to be an interesting series there. As always, I'm here live every Tuesday night for you guys, talking movies, talking movie news, doing reviews, top 5 list, rankings, stuff like that. So if you guys are into that stuff, I have Lego builds on my channel. Check out my Lego builds. They're awesome. I did this little guy recently, so
yeah. I have that one on my shelf.
Yes.
I haven't done it yet. I have so much Lego sets.
I got almost the complete collection of the first run of Lego Batman stuff that came out.
Yeah.
So it's like I got that first initial run and I'm like, yeah.
I
got stuff that I have to glue back together again. So
my wife got me for Christmas the Batcave Shadow Box.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't. Again, once my shelves are all done, I'll be doing more of that stuff and put stuff together.
So,
but yeah.
And I just want to say thank you, Alex, for coming on. If you guys like this channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, so whenever I drop content, you guys know when it comes. Subscribe to Geeks and Flicks. They do some amazing stuff there. Action Movie Guys podcast. Check it out. I mean, I listen to it I listen to it weekly in my podcast circle that
Oh,
I
man.
listen to. So
Yeah.
so it's one of those things that it's on my playlist. So I listen to it. It's a great podcast. So check that out too, everyone. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.